Lawyers are typically 2 to 3 months behind the market because that's the duration of a close. So meaning if you did a deal in March, you're typically closing right now. So guess what? If you're not closing or if there are issues, typically this is when the lawyers get involved. And this is what one of the best lawyers in the city is seeing right now. And this is what he shares with us so that we can better understand what is actually happening and what we should expect going forward. Hi, my name is Vas. I'm a chartered professional accountant by training. I'm a full-time realtor that's built and invested in real estate right here in Toronto, York region, and in secondary markets. In this video, we're going to talk about a Twitter space, which is hosted by my good friend Daniel. This is one of the more insightful Twitter spaces where you can tune in and listen to some experts talk about the Toronto real estate markets and answer some questions that usually go unanswered in the media. In this particular Twitter space, we'll have Mark Morris from legalreview.ca. By the way, it's a great service. They give you status certificate turnarounds within 2 hours. Anybody that does high volume of condo reviews and due diligence for their potential buyer clients, highly recommend it. What's great about feedback from somebody like Mark is that we're usually getting very transparent information in terms of what's happening on the ground floor, obviously with all the confidential details out of it. It's no secret that when the market goes down, typically there's high risk of deals not closing. However, in Canada, typically deals do close because it's very difficult to walk away. Generally, the public is not well educated in this regard. They think that if they walk away from a deal, typically they're only losing their deposit. I have an older video that talks about why it's very difficult to walk away from a deal here. You can check that out right here. But in any event, walking away does not mean you're just losing your deposit. Chances are you're going to be sued for the differential between what you were supposed to pay for a house versus what it's sold for in a down market, plus the carrying costs. And on top of that, you're going to have the legal fees, which can be to the tune of $80,000 over the 3 years that you're going to be fighting this in court. And what Mark is telling us in this Twitter space right now is that sentiment is changing. Now, we know that typically people's sentiment changes. However, right now, when people have a lot of money on the line that they're about to lose or are going to be sued for, they're going to be looking for somebody to blame. And what that means is they're going to be looking for somebody that they're going to sue to try to recoup some of the damages or why they ended up in the position that they're currently in right now. And this is where it gets very interesting. Realtors don't have the best reputation, and a lot of that has to do with negligence and making claims that are not true just to get a deal done so they can close it and move on to the next. Now, I'm not saying all realtors are like this, but we have bad apples just like every other industry. What Mark is telling us that right now, based on the deals not closing, there are actually good arguments to be made to go after realtors that have been negligent or incompetent in their conduct when they've put people in deals. So for example, if somebody made claims that real estate only goes up, or you can't go wrong with this real estate deals, or it can never go down, you've heard all the claims and all the guarantees that are impossible to guarantee. We're going to find out you can't make claims like that in a down, especially when it comes to a down market. In an up market, you might have been put in a bad deal. You might have been able to refinance or mortgage your way out of a bad situation. But when the market goes down, it's not that easy. So now I think people are going to be held accountable. Now let's take a look at some scenarios that he has seen right now based on what he tweeted out today. I think these are worth reviewing so that we're all better educated just to understand what it means to get into a deal. And if it doesn't work out, what it means for everybody involved. Right here in this tweet from today, he says he's dealing with 18 situations in the past month where somebody is looking to default under their purchase agreement. Now, 18 in a month is quite a bit. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I know something like this is usually, your single low digits on a monthly basis under a regular market that you're dealing with. So 18, that's quite high. The key thing here is that what Mark is telling us is something I learned the hard way. If you're in a situation like this, you're not looking to sue, even though you can sue and you will win over 3 years. And after a bunch of stress and agony, you will win. The best thing you can do right now is just try to settle on somewhat amicable terms so that you can just move on with your life. Going through a court case and trial is not worth it. Trust me, I've been there, contractors and different things. I suggest maybe try it for your own sake so you can at least have the scars to prove it, but I personally wouldn't do it again. It's not worth it. What you'll see in the follow-up tweet right here is that these are the settlement amounts that people are trying to work with right now just to avoid going to court so that we can avoid the personal bankruptcies and dragging things through court. So for anything under 800K, we're talking about a 75,000 payout. Between 1 million and 1.5, we're looking at about 100K, and over 2 million, it's 150 to 200K, so that we can all walk away and negotiate our way out of this mess. Now, some people might think to themselves, well, why would I even bother negotiating when I could just go to trial, go for the full amount? Well, if you've done that before, sometimes these things are not worth your while. And like Mark mentioned in the Twitter space, what if you're going through a divorce or something like that, where you don't want to be working with your spouse to deal with this type of thing for the next 3 years? So there are a lot of things that we have to contextualize. We can't answer this as a black and white, but This is the situation on the ground floor right now. I'm grateful that we get this level of insight from people like him because it helps manage expectations with my own clients and with the potential risks that we might be facing on our own personal closings. The silver lining is that most people will close. What we're talking about is a very small percentage of deals that are not going to close. So this is not a widespread problem, but nonetheless, it is a problem. If you feel that there is risk with your own deals, whether you're on the sell side or on the buy side, make sure that you lean on your realtor, your lawyer, just to make sure you're ahead of the problem so that you're proactive, so that you're not calling a lawyer 7 days before close saying, hey, I can't close, I have a problem. Be proactive. These things can be resolved. People are not looking out to get other people or to ruin everybody's lives. Everybody's just trying to move on, make the best out of a bad situation and move on. In this case, it looks like some people are going to be trying to hold others accountable, possibly some realtors that might have misled their own clients, or this is the situation right now, and I hope this was insightful. If you have any questions or if you feel you're in a situation where you may need help, feel free to text, call, or email me. I'd be more than happy to help or at least give you my advice or make recommendations on who you should talk to try to get some help.